The Deep Space Radar Station on Luna Base picked up the anomaly at 3:47 Earth Standard Time. Dr. Sarah Chen had been monitoring the arrays for 8 years, and she'd never seen anything like it. The object was massive, moving at impossible speeds, and its trajectory was constantly adjusting, a clear sign of artificial control. "Director Harris," she called over the comm. "You need to see this." The object dropped out of faster-than-light travel just beyond Mars' orbit, and that's when they saw it wasn't alone. 3 larger vessels emerged behind it, weapons firing brilliant streams of plasma that lit up the void like artificial auroras. The first ship's distress beacon activated, broadcasting on all frequencies in a language Earth's computers had never encountered. But desperation needs no translation. Within minutes, every major space agency on Earth was awake and watching. The pursuing vessels were herding the smaller ship toward the asteroid belt, their superior weapons and engines making the outcome seem inevitable. But they hadn't counted on humanity's tendency to root for the underdog. "This is Captain Maya Patil of the ESV Armstrong." A clear voice cut through the chaos of emergency channels. The Armstrong, Earth's newest defense vessel, had been patrolling near Mars. "Unknown vessels, you have entered Sol-restricted space. The pursued vessel has requested asylum. Stand down immediately." The response came in the form of concentrated plasma fire, missing the Armstrong by mere kilometers. Captain Patel's lips curved into a slight smile. The alien ships were fast and powerful, but they moved like machines. Predictable, programmed. She'd spent 15 years flying combat missions in Earth's chaotic atmosphere before moving to space operations. She knew how to dance. The Armstrong's engines roared to life, its revolutionary hybrid drive allowing it to pull maneuvers that would have torn apart any ship built for the gentle conditions of deep space. The pursuing vessel's attacks became increasingly erratic as they struggled to target this new, unpredictable player. "Asylum vessel, this is Armstrong," Patel broadcast. "Our gravity well is your friend. Follow our vector." The refugee ship understood. Together, they dove toward Earth, the pursuers close behind. But as they approached the planet's gravitational influence, something remarkable happened. The pursuing vessels began to struggle, their sleek forms clearly not designed for the intense gravitational forces that Earth vessels dealt with as a matter of course. Warning signals blared through the Armstrong's bridge as they hit the upper atmosphere at a speed that would have vaporized most ships. But Earth vessels were built different. They had to be, to operate regularly in and out of humanity's brutal gravity well. The refugee ship's hull groaned audibly over the comm as it followed, its structural integrity systems straining but holding. The pursuing vessels attempted to follow but broke off their attack as their outer hulls began to buckle under Earth's gravitational stresses. They hadn't built their ships to withstand such forces. They'd never needed to. As the refugee ship settled into a stable orbit, protected by the very gravity well that had shaped humanity's evolution, Captain Patel received her first clear transmission from them. "We are the Zeril," a tired but grateful voice transmitted. "We sought sanctuary among the stars, but found salvation in the cradle of a species that calls a Deathworld home. We are in your debt." The Armstrong maintained its protective position as Earth's first contact protocols activated. But Maya Patel knew that everything was about to change. Humanity had just announced its presence to the galaxy, not through exploration or conquest, but by doing what they did best, surviving in conditions others found impossible, and extending a helping hand to those in need. The Zeril would soon learn that the very forces that made Earth so dangerous to their pursuers had forged humanity into something unique, a species that didn't just survive adversity, but thrived on it. And as the pursuing vessels regrouped at a safe distance from Earth's gravity well, they were about to learn that lesson too. In the coming days, as diplomatic channels opened and the Zyril story emerged, one thing became clear. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their weapons. It was the harsh cradle that had birthed them. a world that demanded adaptation, innovation, and an unbreakable will to survive. Earth wasn't just a planet. It was humanity's first and greatest teacher in the art of defying impossible odds. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched through reinforced glass as another Zeril collapsed during physical therapy. Their crystalline-based biology, evolved in the gentle embrace of a low-gravity world, struggled against Earth's relentless pull. Even in the specially modified low-gravity chamber at the International Xenological Research Center, the aliens found every movement exhausting. "That's enough for today, Ambassador Vin," Elena said into the comm. The Zyril's chief diplomat tried to protest, but his translucent limbs trembled with fatigue. After 3 weeks on Earth, none of the refugees had managed to take more than a few steps unassisted. But humans hadn't become the dominant species on their death world by giving up easily. "I think we've been approaching this wrong," Elena told her team during their evening briefing. "We're trying to help them adapt to our gravity through gradual exposure, like we would with human astronauts. But their biology is fundamentally different. They need more than adaptation. They need innovation." That's when Dr. James Chen, a materials engineer who'd been studying the crystalline structure of Zeril biology, spoke up. "What if we could help them work with Earth's gravity instead of against it?" The solution came from an unlikely source: deep-sea creatures. Elena's team developed a synthetic amniotic fluid that matched the density of the Zyril's bodies, allowing them to float in sealed environment suits. The liquid contained dissolved minerals that actually strengthened their crystalline structure rather than wearing it down. Ambassador Vane's first steps in the new suit brought tears to the eyes of both species. "We thought your world would crush us," he said, his translator struggling to convey the depth of emotion in his harmonic speech. "Instead, you found a way to make its very pressure strengthen us." But Earth had more lessons to teach. The Zeril discovered that the constant stress of Earth's gravity, when properly managed through their new suits, caused their crystalline structures to grow denser and stronger. What had once been a weakness was becoming a source of unprecedented physical resilience for their species. The pursuing Krelax, monitoring from the edge of the solar system, watched with growing concern as their intended prey adapted to conditions they themselves couldn't tolerate. The Zyril's new environment suits began incorporating elements of human design, rugged, redundant systems that could withstand punishment that would shatter more elegant but fragile solutions. "Your species is remarkable," Ambassador Vine told Elena during one of their now regular walks through the research center's gardens. The Zeril diplomat moved with growing confidence in his suit, his crystalline form refracting sunlight in mesmerizing patterns. "We came here seeking temporary shelter, thinking Earth's gravity would protect us just long enough to find a more suitable home. We never imagined we would learn to thrive here." Elena smiled, watching as young Zyril children played with human kids in a specially designed playground. The alien children's environment suits had been decorated with colorful stickers and paint, a purely human touch that the Zeril had embraced with surprising enthusiasm. "That's the thing about Earth," she said. "It never stops challenging you, but each challenge makes you stronger, if you're willing to adapt." The Zeril were learning more than just physical adaptation. They began incorporating human-inspired redundancies and fail-safes into their technology. Their ships, once prized for their elegant efficiency, were being retrofitted with rugged backup systems. Their medical techniques, evolved in gentler environments, were being revolutionized by exposure to human medicine's need to deal with constant trauma and stress. But perhaps the most profound change was philosophical. The Zeril had always seen their crystalline nature as delicate, requiring careful protection. Now, watching human children fall and bounce back up laughing, they began to understand that true strength often came from learning to recover rather than trying to avoid every impact. As reports of the Zyril's transformation spread through the galaxy's communication networks, other species began to take notice. The refugees who had sought shelter on humanity's death world weren't just surviving. They were evolving, growing stronger in ways their pursuers hadn't thought possible. Earth's gravity had become more than just a barrier to their enemies. It had become a forge, reshaping the Zeril into something new, a species that, like their human hosts, was learning to turn adversity into advantage. And as the Krelax continued their distant observation, they were beginning to realize that their prey had found more than just protectors on Earth. They had found teachers. The Krelax attack came during Earth's worst recorded solar storm in decades. Their massive warships emerged from FTL travel just as electromagnetic interference peaked, temporarily blinding most of Earth's early warning systems. But humanity hadn't survived countless natural disasters by relying on technology alone. "Old school it is," muttered Admiral Sarah Chen, formerly of Luna Base, as she activated the backup optical tracking arrays. These simple telescopes, originally installed as museum pieces, were immune to electromagnetic interference. The Krelax hadn't counted on humans keeping obsolete technology operational. The alien fleet was larger this time. 12 crystalline ships, each bristling with energy weapons that could vaporize a small moon. They moved with mechanical precision, following battle algorithms refined over centuries of conquest. But they still hadn't learned the most important lesson about Earth. Precision wasn't always an advantage. Captain Maya Patel, watching from the Armstrong, recognized their formation from tactical simulations. "They're using a meridian attack pattern," she broadcast to the Earth Defense Fleet. "Perfect for zero combat. Absolute nightmare in variable gravity conditions." The Krelax opened fire, their energy weapons painting beautiful and deadly patterns across space. But Earth's ships scattered in seemingly random directions, their movements unpredictable yet somehow coordinated. They were using attack patterns developed for fighting in Earth's atmosphere, where wind currents and weather could change battle conditions in seconds. "Now," Admiral Chen commanded. The Earth fleet dove toward the planet, and the Krelax followed, exactly as planned. They entered the upper atmosphere in tight formation, their sensors struggling to track Earth's ships through the electromagnetic storm. That's when humanity revealed their true defense strategy. Hundreds of small, unmanned craft launched from hidden bases in the Himalayas. These drones, barely more than engines and basic guidance systems, had been designed based on Earth's most resilient insects. They swarmed around the Krelax ships, sacrificing themselves to disrupt the aliens' perfect formation. The Krelax battle computers tried to compensate, but their algorithms couldn't handle the chaos. Earth's gravity pulled at their ships, while the solar storm scrambled their sensors. The drone swarms forced them to break formation, and Earth's defense fleet struck from multiple angles, using the planet's gravity like a slingshot to amplify their attacks. "Impossible," the Krelax commander transmitted as another of their ships lost structural integrity under Earth's gravitational stresses. "Your technology is inferior. Your tactics are illogical. You cannot defeat us." "That's your problem right there," Admiral Chen responded. "You think combat should be logical. Earth taught us different. Nature isn't logical. It's adaptable." The battle raged through the upper atmosphere, with Earth's ships diving in and out of the gravity, well like dolphins playing in rough seas. The Krelax's superior weapons were nearly useless. Firing them at full power in Earth's atmosphere created unpredictable feedback loops that damaged their own ships. But the turning point came from an unexpected source. The Zyril, watching from their protected habitats, recognized a fatal flaw in their former pursuers' strategy. The Krelax ship's crystalline structure, similar to their own, was vulnerable to harmonic resonance. "Their ships will shatter," Ambassador Vin explained urgently, "if exposed to specific sound frequencies in a high-pressure environment." Earth's scientists quickly modified their remaining drones, equipped them with acoustic generators, and launched them into the battle. The effect was devastating. The Krelax ship's elegant crystalline hulls, already stressed by gravity and battle damage, began to crack under the sonic assault. The Krelax commander watched in disbelief as his fleet was systematically dismantled by what they had dismissed as primitive tactics. Earth's ships weren't just fighting. They were using the planet itself as a weapon, turning its gravity, atmosphere, and even its electromagnetic storms to their advantage. As the remaining Krelak ships retreated, their perfect formation shattered like their crystalline hulls, they transmitted one final message: this is not the end. Admiral Chen's response was pure humanity. You're right. It's just the beginning. Next time, try attacking when we haven't had time to prepare. Oh wait, we're always prepared. That's what living on a death world teaches you. The battle marked a turning point in galactic politics. The species that had evolved on gentler worlds had to accept a new reality. Humanity's primitive survival adaptations, forged in Earth's harsh crucible, were far more formidable than anyone had imagined. As debris from the Krelak ships burned up in Earth's atmosphere, creating an unprecedented meteor shower, humans and Zero watched together from the surface. They had won not through superior technology or overwhelming force, but by embracing the very chaos that other species feared. Earth had taught them well. In the aftermath of the Krelak's attack, the research labs beneath Mount Kilimanjaro buzzed with unprecedented activity. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched as human and Zeral scientists worked side by side, their differences becoming their greatest strength. Your crystalline technology is incredible, Dr. James Chen said, examining a Zeral computational matrix through an electron microscope. But it's too perfect, too rigid. That's why it fails under stress. Ambassador Vin, now moving confidently in his third-generation environment suit, leaned forward with interest. And your systems are remarkably resilient, but inefficient by our standards. Perhaps there is a middle ground. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A young human geologist studying how Earth's crystals formed under intense pressure. Unlike the artificially grown crystals the Zeral used, Earth's natural crystals contained imperfections that actually made them stronger, more adaptable to stress. Using this principle, the joint research team developed a hybrid technology that combined Zeral crystalline precision with human-inspired redundancy. The result was something entirely new: adaptive crystalline systems that became stronger under pressure, just like the species that created them. The first test of this new technology came sooner than anyone expected. Long-range sensors detected unusual gravitational distortions at the edge of the solar system, signs that the Krelaks were preparing for another attack, this time with technology specifically designed to operate in Earth's gravity. But Earth and its allies were ready. The new hybrid ships launched from underwater bases in Earth's oceans, where they had been pressure tested in conditions far more extreme than space combat. Their hulls, grown using modified Zeral techniques in Earth's high-pressure environments, were nearly indestructible. Look at how they move, Captain Maya Patel marveled from the bridge of the new flagship, Genesis. The hybrid fleet's movements were a perfect blend of Zeral precision and human adaptability. They could maintain tight formations when needed, then break into controlled chaos at a moment's notice. The Krelaks weren't just facing upgraded technology. They were facing a fundamental shift in how war could be waged. The hybrid ships could reconfigure their crystalline structures on the fly, adapting to damage instead of trying to avoid it. When hit by enemy fire, the crystals would actually absorb and redistribute the energy, growing stronger. But the true revolution wasn't in the ships themselves. It was in the way humans and Zeral had learned to complement each other's strengths. Human tactical chaos combined with Zeral strategic precision. Earth's harsh lessons in survival merged with alien efficiency. We were wrong about so much, Ambassador Vin admitted during a strategy session. We thought Earth's conditions made it a primitive world. Instead, they made it an incubator for innovations we never imagined possible. The Human-Zeral alliance wasn't just changing military technology. Their collaboration led to breakthroughs in medicine, architecture, and space exploration. Buildings on Earth began incorporating living crystals that could flex and strengthen during earthquakes. Zeral medical techniques, combined with human emergency medicine, created treatments that could heal injuries previously thought fatal to either species. As news of these developments spread through galactic communications networks, Other species began to take notice. The Death World, that many had dismissed as a primitive backwater, was becoming a center of innovation. Ships from distant systems began arriving, not to attack, but to learn. "We've started something bigger than us," Admiral Chen told Elena during the inauguration of the first joint Human-Zeral Space Academy. Earth's harshness taught humanity that strength comes in many forms. Now we're teaching that lesson to the galaxy. The Krelax, monitoring these developments from afar, faced a difficult choice. Their planned attack would no longer be against a primitive world harboring refugees. They would be facing an alliance that had turned their greatest weaknesses into unprecedented strengths. As the hybrid fleet conducted maneuvers in Earth's orbit, their crystalline hulls refracting sunlight like living rainbows, humanity and their allies prepared for whatever came next. They had learned that true strength didn't come from perfection or power, but from the ability to adapt, to learn, and to grow stronger through adversity. Earth, the death world that had forged humanity in its unforgiving crucible, was becoming something new, a proving ground where species could learn to overcome their limitations together. The Krelax's return wasn't announced by weapons fire or invasion fleets. It began with a message, transmitted simultaneously to every communication system in the Sol system. "We seek dialogue." Admiral Sarah Chen, Captain Maya Patel, and Ambassador Vin gathered in the newly constructed Orbital Diplomatic Center, its crystalline walls adapting automatically to maintain perfect structural integrity against Earth's gravitational stresses. They were joined by an unexpected guest, the Krelax Supreme Commander herself, Katal. The alien leader's crystalline form was darker, more angular than the Zyrals, but she wore an environment suit clearly inspired by human-zeral designs. "We have been watching," she began, her translator conveying a complex mixture of emotions. "What you have achieved here, it challenges everything we believed about strength and evolution." The Krelax, she explained, had spent millennia pursuing perfection through conquest, eliminating what they saw as weak or inefficient species. But Earth had shown them a fundamental flaw in their philosophy. True perfection wasn't about eliminating weakness, but about adapting to overcome it. "Your world," Kittel gestured toward the blue planet below, "would have killed my species within days. We saw this as proof of our superiority, that we had evolved beyond the need for such harsh conditions. But we were wrong. Earth's very hostility is what made humanity strong, and now it's transforming the Zeral too." The evidence was undeniable. In the months since the last battle, the Zeral had continued to adapt to Earth's conditions in ways that defied conventional xenobiology. Their crystalline structures, rather than being weakened by Earth's gravity, had begun incorporating elements from their environment, becoming stronger and more flexible. "We came here ready for war," Katal admitted. "Our fleet waits at the edge of your system, with weapons that could crack your planet's crust. But that would be more than just a tactical mistake. It would be an evolutionary one." Ambassador Vane's crystalline form shimmered with emotion. "You hunted us across the galaxy because you thought we were weak. Instead, you drove us to find strength we never knew we had." Dr. Elena Rodriguez, who had been quietly observing, stepped forward. "Earth's history is full of species that survived not by being the strongest or most perfect, but by being the most adaptable. Humanity learned that lesson from our world. Now we're teaching it to the stars." The Krelax Supreme Commander made an unexpected proposal. Instead of war, she offered alliance. The Krelax would share their advanced technology and tactical knowledge in exchange for learning Earth's lessons in adaptation and resilience. "Your death world has become something unprecedented," Katal observed. "Not just a planet, but a crucible where species can transform themselves. We want to be part of that transformation." The implications were staggering. Earth, once considered a backwater death world, was becoming a center for galactic evolution. Species that had once looked down on humanity's harsh home were now seeking to learn from its challenges. The human-zeral hybrid technology became the foundation for a new era of innovation. The Krelax's precision engineering, combined with Earth-inspired adaptability, led to breakthroughs that transformed space travel, medicine, and environmental engineering across the galaxy. But perhaps the most profound change was philosophical. The galaxy's species began to understand that strength came in many forms, and that the harshest environments often produced the most remarkable adaptations. Earth taught us all something vital. Ambassador Vin reflected during the signing of the Tri-Species Accord. In trying to protect ourselves from adversity, we limited our potential for growth. True strength isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about learning from them. As the ceremony concluded, Admiral Chen looked out at the assembled fleet, human ships, Zero cruisers, and Krelax dreadnoughts, all modified with hybrid technology that made them stronger together than apart. Each design reflected its species' origin, while incorporating lessons learned from Earth's harsh embrace. The death world that had forged humanity had become something more, a proving ground for the galaxy's evolution. Species that came to Earth expecting to find primitive survivors instead found teachers in the art of turning adversity into advantage. And high above the planet that had started it all, the combined fleet stood ready, not for war, but to face whatever new challenges the universe might bring. They had learned that the greatest strength wasn't in perfect technology or overwhelming force, but in the ability to adapt, to learn, and to grow stronger together.